Hi everyone, TARDIS Guy 123 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Death to the Daleks. This is of course the last third Doctor story to feature the Daleks, so that's the last out of three. We had Day of the Daleks and Planet of the Daleks before this, and it's also the first Sarah Jane story to feature Daleks actually. So yeah, just a little bit of trivia right there. We've got obviously an exploding Dalek on the cover here, which is very reminiscent of the Target novelisation actually. So I think that's a bit of a homage to that as well. And then you've also got John Pertwee up there, and then you've got the city of the Exxilons in the background there. And also it's quite a nice design for the Daleks actually. It's sort of like a callback to the 60s in a lot of ways, obviously, where it was sort of like the silver and the, well, it was blue in the 60s, although here it's black, but nevertheless it's very much a callback to that sort of like style of Dalek, which is very nice. And it's odd that they only used this once. After this they went back to the grey design from Planet of the Daleks, so yeah, that's a bit odd, but you know, nevertheless it sort of like makes this story a bit more special, I guess, because it's the only one to feature this design of the Daleks, and it is quite a nice design as well. And you know, it's also, well, I'll get onto more of that later when I review the story itself, but first let's overview the packaging. Obviously we've had a look at the front cover already, so now let's flip it to the side right here. You've got Doctor Who, John Pertwee's head there, Death to the Daleks, and then BBC to Entertain. Also, got to show you the John Pertwee years, 1970 to 74, and PG, if you care about ratings. I'm not sure who does, but just in case. And on the back here, it's written by Terry Nation, who of course is the creator of Daleks and whatnot. And then down there you have special features are a commentary, beneath the city of the Exxilons, which is basically cast and crew looking back on Make It the story. And then that's actually quite got a nice intro and outro actually, with Nicholas Briggs doing the voice of a Dalek type thing, where it's sort of like accessing files and whatnot. That's quite nice. And then the documentary itself is quite nice. And then studio recording as well, which is a nice little look at that kind of stuff. And then Doctor Who Dalek Men, which I did have a look at, and that is basically the standard Doctor Who story, except it's a bit different because instead of it just being one cast member looking back on their time, it's multiple people who are inside the Daleks, I believe. I'm not sure whether it's just John Scott Martin or whether there's a couple of others. It has been quite a while since I watched that one, but yeah, it's a nice little insight into being inside a Dalek, I guess. And then on the set of Doctor Who and the Daleks, just a nice little behind the scenes thing of the first Dalek film, and you get to talk, well, you don't get to talk to the director's son, but the director's son talks to you, I guess, and that's quite interesting. It's quite a nice little look there. It lasts under 10 minutes, I believe it did, so yeah, it's a nice little short thing. And then of course you've got Radio Times listings and whatnot, all that standard stuff. And the coming soon trailer, in case you wanted to know, is for the Crotons. So now opening it up and having a look at the inside now. Here we have the one disc right there, which just has the city of Exxilons and the Dalek exploding on it. And there is the booklet. If I just take that out and give you a better look at that. And the inside here you have the special features listed once again. And on the back it is just a 4-part story. And there are all the chapter points there. So then, for my thoughts on Death to the Daleks. Well, let's start off with the title actually. It's quite an interesting title, Death to the Daleks. You sort of like think, because of the whole idea of them, everyone losing power and whatnot, you sort of like think maybe Terry Nation originally planned to call this Power of the Daleks, and then suddenly realised that title had already been taken back in the 60s by David Whittaker. But yeah, so instead we got Death to the Daleks. By the way, that isn't confirmed, I'm just making that up there. Although it might be true, you never know. It does sort of like have that feel to it, but yeah, anyway, we got Death to the Daleks as the final title, and it is an interesting title to say the least. It's not of the Daleks once, instead it's to the Daleks, and I guess it sort of like fits in a lot of ways, but nevertheless, you know, it's just one of those titles that you don't really look too much into, so yeah, it's just the way it ended up being. And then the story itself, let's start with part 1, because a lot of people praise part 1, especially the early minutes of part 1, but to be honest I find those, I don't know why, but I just don't enjoy those as much as I do the rest of the story. You know, it is quite creepy, it's well directed and whatnot, but at the same time, once you've seen it once you know what the mystery is, it sort of like loses that whole idea behind it, I guess. It loses interest a lot of the time, and you just want to get onto the fun part of the story, rather than this intriguing mystery part of the story, which you already know the answer to. And while it is well directed, it just doesn't really stand up to multiple watches in a lot of ways. And obviously, because it's got Daleks in the title, you're waiting for Daleks to show up. And as ever with Terry Nation, they don't do it till part 1, and you get the shock horror reveal of Daleks, even though it's got Daleks in the title. Yeah, that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, I guess. But then again, Daleks did bring in ratings and whatnot, so if you put them in the title, then you get loads of ratings. But yeah, that's just the way television is, and you still wish that Terry Nation didn't just keep putting it at the end of part 1. But it did provide some interesting stuff in part 1 before the Daleks arrive, and it's not like a real reveal that the Daleks are there all along and whatnot on planning stuff. It is very much a reveal that the Daleks have just arrived on this planet, and everything that happened beforehand has nothing to do with them. It's all to do with this thing in the background here, the city of the Exxilons, which is draining power and whatnot. So that's all very interesting, and then you go inside the city, of course, and you have things picked out from the Doctor Who annual, and the maze and whatnot, which is, quite interesting, I guess. But at the same time, you don't really think they're very mentally challenging things in a lot of ways, but I don't know, some of them I guess might be, but yeah, that maze one was just a bit pathetic, and you think these people, there are really corpses in there from when people got stuck in this room because they couldn't figure out a simple maze. Maybe if you accidentally took a wrong turn or something, it would kill you, but I don't know. But yeah, anyway, moving on now. Of course, with the Doctor going into that city and whatnot was Bilal, who was quite an interesting character, and you could easily see him popping into the TARDIS at the end. He's quite an interesting Exxilon as well, so one of the renegade groups and whatnot who's lives under the city and whatnot. And he's quite an interesting character. I do quite like him, and he has a wonderful relationship with John Pertwee, and gets to see the Doctor looking down to him and whatnot, and helping him and whatnot, and that's all very fun as well. And it's just got an interesting dynamic going on between them. And then meanwhile, Sarah is being underwritten now. Obviously in the Time Warrior, she was introduced as a very strong, very liberated woman and whatnot, and then going into Invasion of the Dinosaurs, she does that as well. But then here she's reduced to the typical companion role in a lot of ways, which is slightly disappointing, but it's bound to happen sooner or later, and it's just good that we could get those two stories. And then that side of her character did come back again and whatnot. It wasn't just it ended here. She did have some better stories later on, but here that is a bit unfortunate for her. But nevertheless, she does get some interesting moments, of course. And expecting to go up to the planet Florana and whatnot, that was all very interesting. And we obviously never did get to go there, unfortunately. I think it was revisited in The Elite, actually, which is another, which is a Lost Story, which is a 5th Doctor one. And yeah, I'm not sure if they actually ended up going to Florana and whatnot. I'm not sure if that's set on Florana or if it is set on a different planet when they were trying to get to Florana, and we have a similar situation going on here. But yeah, I don't have The Elite, unfortunately. I do want it. It does look quite an interesting story. But anyway, going back to the Daleks now, enough sidetracking. I think, what is it? It is a romp, probably. It's Terry Nation just doing a solid Dalek romp, taking the Daleks in an interesting direction, having their power taken away and whatnot, putting them at a very vulnerable position. That's very good. And then they eventually get their guns and whatnot. There are some plot threads which I feel weren't really followed through too well, such as the idea that there are only 4 of us, the humans must not know there are more, but then suddenly that doesn't really go anywhere. It's just revealed that there are more, and no one really bats an eyelid at it at all. And then other stuff going on, you've got the Exxilons being quite a mystery going on there. The Exxilons are quite good, and of course that was explored further in another Big Finish play, the Exxilons. Not one I would recommend too strongly, there are definitely better ones out there. But nevertheless, they are quite interesting in this, I will say. And then the crew of the spaceships, they don't really go anywhere either. They're a bit dull characters in a lot of ways. Something interesting, such as Galloway's character development, that was quite interesting. Peter Hamilton, I believe, was the name of the other one, or Lieutenant Hamilton, I don't know. But the young one, he was fairly interesting, and he stood up to Galloway and the Daleks, but at the same time he didn't really do it that well. He sort of like went, I think you did, sort of like just backed down again, and even though he was unhappy with it, he went along with it anyway, which is rather unfortunate for him. It sort of like made his character seem a bit more whiny, and since he wasn't really proactive about it, just made him seem whiny and a bit annoying. Jill was an interesting character. I guess you could call it sexist for having her being the nurse or whatever it is. I can't remember exactly what her role was while all the men were doing the military roles. I don't know. But as it is, it's of its time, and I don't really mind that too much. It's just nevertheless, what does matter is that she was quite an interesting character, had an interesting relationship with Sarah throughout this. But at the same time, more could have been done with her, and she very much had the same problem as Lieutenant Hamilton had, where she sort of like stood up to Galloway, but at the same time then just sort of like backed down again and thought, no, and it's just unfortunate really. But Death to the Daleks, it's a fun yarn. I do enjoy it. There's a lot to enjoy here, especially when you get sort of like into the Daleks, into the mix, and you get sort of like the fun little bit of a romp really, just going about the place, solving all these mysteries and whatnot. Very much just a story that you can put on in the background and enjoy, and just sort of like, it's not one that you have to get too invested in, it's not one you have to pay close attention to like Genesis of Daleks and whatnot. It's just a fun little story. So to the Daleks, I will rate 7 out of 10 because I do enjoy it a lot, and it does have its positives as well. But yeah, it does have flaws at the same time. So then, that is my review of Death to the Daleks. I hope you enjoyed everyone, and I will see you all next time. Bye everyone.